Okay, today we're getting ready to start a new little video series. It's a little bit off the beaten path for typical Shaw's garage stuff, but we got a 91 Toyota 4Runner, and this is a very nice, clean, I think a 2-owner 4Runner. Really nice inside, fully loaded, really been taken good care of. And we're in the process of pulling the 3-liter V6 out of it, and we're going to put a Volkswagen 1.9 TDI diesel in it. The truck's already a 5-speed, so that'll sort of make it work out a little better, but we've already started, taking the harness and various things out, getting the engine ready to set out. And what we're putting in it is this little guy right here, and it's a 1.9 Volkswagen, what they call an ALH, and these things have a really good reputation, just an incredibly good little motor, and I think it's going to be a nice vehicle. It's going to be a challenge. It's been done. It's not like we're treading on new ground, but there's a lot of things to work out, a lot of custom stuff you have to do to make it fit. It looks like it would just fall in there, but it actually, there's going to be interference areas in a couple of places that make them really a little bit tricky to do. But anyway, we don't know a ton about this kind of thing, so we're learning as we go, and I'm just going to try to share our experience for any of you guys that are interested in this kind of thing. Maybe we'll all learn something together. I know, strangely enough, I think the biggest viewed videos on our channel were of the diesel build when we did our diesel in our car hauler. So I know there's a lot of guys out there that are into diesels. So anyway, I just thought I'd get started on this, and I'm just going to film a little each day and till we get decent links and post the videos and go from there. It won't necessarily be an instructional video, but we'll just kind of show what we run into and how we work out the problems. Okay, we've made some progress on our 1.9 VW swap in this 91 4Runner. Got the engine out, which was a lot harder than I thought it would be. I would not want to put a clutch in one of these 3-liter vehicles, as hard as that thing was to get to bell housing bolts. Anyway, we've got the ALH 1.9 bolted up to the transmission using the TD conversions adapter. You can see the blue stuff there. Got tons of firewall clearance, no problem there. We've got plenty of room over here to build motor mount. I am doing my best to try to be able to use the entire VW serpentine drive system, because it's going to save the customer a lot of money if we don't have to start fabricating and moving accessories. And I'll raise it up here in a second and show you what it's like underneath. A little crowded over here, no big deal. We've still got a lot of wiring and vacuum stuff that's going to be done away with and changed and relocated. This pipe right here is laying against the inner fender, which is no problem. We're gonna make a little pocket there for that. That's really our only spot of interference over here. And then I'll show you when we raise it up what we're looking like underneath. Now this is with the engine clocked. There's 3 different positions that you can clock this, this way or this way. This is with it clocked all the way to the passenger side, and I was a little bit concerned about angle, because you can see that oil fill cap ought to be level. So I think we're clocked about 10 degrees off of stock, and I asked some of the guys on the forums who are really familiar with these VWs, and I've never seen one of these in an original VW vehicle. I have no clue what they look like, how they lay down. It's obviously a front wheel drive mounted sideways, but everybody who looked at the pictures go, no, you're fine. And you would think that the company building the conversion would not give you an option of clocking the engine to a point where it would be unsafe. And all I was concerned about was oil starvation. And when I raise it up and show you the oil pan, you'll see. So anyway, we tried it in the positioned, closest to the driver's side, and there were certain aspects of it fit really well. And then we had oil pan clearance problems with the differential. And then as we laid it over the other direction, I think this is where we're going to leave it because we've got hood clearance, which is a big deal. You can see across here, hood's going to clear. And that was going to be a problem with the other position. And I may try it in the middle if I run into some issues underneath, but I think this is where it's going to be. So anyway, let's raise it up and look underneath. Okay, so we're underneath. I'm gonna try to video with one hand and hold the light with the other so you can see. All right, so we've got tons of oil pan clearance. And with the motor clocked towards the passenger side, it was tight right through here, and that's a zip tie laying there for some reason or another. So anyway, great shape there. I'm touching here at this AC compressor just barely, and we can trim most of that bracket off. Now, you can see I've already cut both motor mounts off of this thing. Okay, so that was, major step number one because they were in the way, and of course we've got to build motor mounts anyway. We also took the drag link stabilizer off, or steering stabilizer. It's going to be in the way. That's not a problem. We can relocate that somewhere else, put a different style on it, worry about that later. So anyway, we're going to be a little close on the AC compressor. We can trim this back, make a little pocket in the frame. Probably need to trim the edge of that control arm just a touch. Remember, the motor lifts up on this side anyway, so I think we'll be fine. We've got a power steering line that will reroute a little bit, and I think we'll be able to run all the factory serpentine stuff. Over here, the wastegate solenoid is touching where that motor mount bracket is still there. Once again, we can trim. We pretty much got to trim the same thing off both sides, and that'll give us clearance for that. And once we're off of that top line where I said we were going to make a little pocket in the fender well, that's actually going to let us tweak the motor a little bit side to side, up and down, and that'll help with some of this too. But I think we're going to be fine once we make these little clearance pockets. You can see where the exhaust is coming out. I don't think we'll have a problem routing and going down beside the starter. Let's see if I can get under here. And let's see. Yeah, I can't really see it under here, but I did want to show you transmission angles and stuff. This exhaust bracket is still attached to the transmission in the factory position, so you can see, we've not raised the transmission up significantly. If any, we may be a little lower than it was factory because that bracket was, close to that shield right there. So positioning is good. Driveline angles look good. We've got tons of clearance through here. All that looks fine. We will have to, of course, build a custom exhaust because all the exhaust runs down the opposite side. We'll figure that out later. So anyway, I think this is the position we're going to leave it in. After I do some marking, and I'll probably just mark everything, pull the engine back out, make all these little clearance spots we need, put it back in, and then if we're not totally happy with it, I might try it clocked back the other way. But I really think, the customer doesn't want to do a body lift, and it would be nice not to do a cowl hood. So I think this is going to be the spot to get this thing in and be able to close the hood and have clearance for everything else. So, okay, I've had the motor out one more time. I left it clocked all the way to the passenger side. That's where it's going to live. And we've trimmed out on both sides near where the motor mounts were. So we've got plenty of clearance over here. Still got plenty of room to box all that in, clean it up. Gonna have plenty of room to do exhaust pipe. We'll be able to come almost straight out of the turbo and go toward the back. And you can see we've got tons of room around the oil pan. I got that 2x4 under there right now. The motor's just resting on it. I've already got the mount tacked in on this other side. Got it built today, and I'll show you the top of it in a minute. And we've got room around a compressor. I stuck an old street rod air compressor on here. Of course, I'll get one that's got a V-belt, a serpentine belt. This one's a V-belt. Just wanted to see if it would bolt up, and it bolts up fine to the mount. So they're using a compressor that's the same as a Sandon 508 rotary. And the reason I wanted to do that is I wanted to go to some standard fittings, because we're gonna have to make all the AC lines on this. And this will clear just fine. I could even trim the ears off of it if I wanted to and get a little more clearance. But it's fine like it is, and we'll be able to get some 90-degree fittings, come out the bottom, and go straight back up to the firewall and over for the lines, because there's nothing goes on this other side. There's no exhaust, it's wide open. So I think that'll work well. We'll just get a new compressor that's got a 6-groove serpentine, and I think all of our serpentine drive stuff will work. So let me show you the top, show you what I've done on the motor mount. Okay, so here's our driver's side mount. We've got it roughed in. Don't pay a whole lot of attention to the welding. I lost sight of my bead and had to start over on that top weld, but anyway, it's not going anywhere. And there's still a lot of gussets and cleanup to do, but you see that white line right there? I still need to trim that out to give a little more clearance to the back of the alternator, because it goes right here. But basically, there's a plate bolted to the motor with 3 bolts. You can see one of the bolts under there, and then there's another one back on the back side. Yep, you can just barely see the head of it sticking through. And there's 2 spacers behind that, approximately 5/8 of an inch thick. And then that levels the plate out with this top bolt. I use this bolt that holds all of the AC mount and everything on. I don't see any reason that should be a problem. And it's just basically a flat piece of 1/4 inch plate, notched out to clear the heater hoses. And then there's a BMW hydraulic motor mount. Supposedly these are rubber with liquid in them. It's supposed to take up more of the vibration. And then we've got you can't really see how the bottom mount is made. It's a real beefy angled piece with the top laid over. And it's just tacked in at the moment. It's going to get a lot of gusseting over to the frame, and plenty of room to do that, plenty of clearance back there. When I finish boxing in where we trimmed out to clear the AC compressor. So anyway, I thought I'd show as much of this as I could, because I know everybody's interested in motor mounts, because there's just not a lot of stuff you can buy that's specific to this kind of swap yet. There will be, but not at the moment. Anyway, we've got enough clearance there with our oil cooler. And like I said, we've got a ton of room on this side to bring AC lines up. A ton of room at the back. Plenty of clearance for the vacuum pump. I think we'll be able to massage the firewall a little bit and get the factory coolant heater block that's not on there at the moment. It's going to be close. We'll see. So anyway, the next order of business will be building a mount for this side, but I'm actually going to come up more toward the front. I'm going to come off of these 2 bolts, and there's another one down there, and cut a plate to go around the where the intercooler line will come in, and set one of those mounts and tie into the frame. We also took all of the rear ABS garbage off of this thing. It had all of the power steering lines that came across here, went to the power steering pump, and then the pump on the Toyota was over here. Well, it's over here on the VW diesel, which is great. We'll be able to do a couple short lines, drop right into our steering gear, and then got rid of all of that stuff, and we'll just pipe the rear brakes up as a standard deal. Maybe put a proportioning valve if the customer wants it. And I got permission from the customer to do that. He was like, yeah, absolutely, take that off. That's just trouble waiting to happen, and it really did open up a lot of room in the engine compartment. So we don't need any negative comments on that. That's up to each person as whether they want the rear ABS on one of these or not. So anyway, can't really see. I got a block where that line is resting on at the moment, but I did cut a section out of the inner fender where that pipe right there gets a little close. Other than that, I mean, we've got a ton of room. We're gonna have hood clearance, I think, and so the next step is just to continue and make this this other front mount. Here's the part number for the engine mounts. If anybody's interested, it's for early 2000s BMW. This is an O'Reilly's part number B9003. And then right here is what the mount looks like. Like I say, it's supposed to be hydraulic, and I've got them mounted like this. So they're real simple to use, and should keep a good bit of the diesel vibration out of the interior.